Hi, are you going home for the holidays this year? If you do, it's a great time to check in with your loved ones, your parents, your siblings, whoever that may be, and check on their well-being, specifically their hearing. What? Did you not hear me? Their hearing. Having our hearing decline as we age is totally normal. It's a natural part of the aging process. And people who have been around guns or loud noises, went to a lot of concerts, worked in a factory, all those loud noises could also affect our hearing and make it decline even worse and sooner. So when you think about hearing loss, don't just think about older adults. People all ages can start losing their hearing, especially if people wear the earplugs that go into the ears as opposed to on the outside. That can encourage hearing loss. And why is this so important? It's important to understand hearing loss because it can cause a lot of problems. Well, it can cause isolation. If you can imagine, let's say your mom lives in a community and the dining room has really tall ceilings. It's really loud in there. So she's eating dinner and she keeps asking her dining partner, could you repeat what you said? What? I couldn't hear you. It gets annoying to her just to keep asking that question. It gets annoying to her dining partner who's having to repeat everything. So a couple of things could happen. One, she could just start withdrawing and not participate in the conversation. But worse, she could actually stop going downstairs for dinner and then start becoming isolated because she doesn't want to keep asking what. But if she had hearing aids, maybe that would make all the difference in the world. So think about that when you notice your parent at home this holiday season. Some people actually mistake cognitive impairment or memory loss, and it's really just hearing loss. Perhaps your dad asked you a question, what would you like for dinner today? And maybe you answer, but you turn away from him so he couldn't hear. And then a few minutes later, he didn't hear what you said, right? So a few minutes later, he asks you again, what would you like for dinner? And this time, maybe you're speaking toward him and you say, I would like such and such. Well, you didn't realize that he didn't have hearing loss. And you're thinking, boy, Dad's repeating himself a lot. He keeps asking me the same question over and over. But it could simply be he didn't hear the answer. So that's another thing to notice and think about when you're home for the holidays. Another thing to be mindful over the holidays is all the loud noises that could happen. You might have music in the background. There might be kids laughing and playing over on one area, and then a bunch of conversations going on. And it just may be too much noise for your parent or your sibling. And you notice that they're just not engaging. Maybe they physically leave the room because it's too noisy, or maybe they just seem really withdrawn. And it really is simply they cannot hear, or it's too much noise. So be cognizant of that, and maybe if you're trying to have a conversation one-on-one, you and your parent or whoever it is, go into another room and have you can have a peaceful conversation, a little more quiet, and then notice if that's what it is. It could be hearing loss. Make sure you're speaking towards someone and just kind of notice if that's what it is, because it could be corrected, and it's a important thing to notice. So I urge you to check that out and think, could they possibly have hearing loss? If your loved one does have hearing loss, it's so important to talk straight at the person and not have your hand over your mouth or mumbling or be doing like this. A lot of people do that and don't realize it. Some people turn away and don't talk. People who have hearing loss really will watch your mouth and try to read some words, which is great, but that's why you just don't want your hand in front of your mouth, or you just want to talk clearly, slowly, and toward them. And maybe one ear is better than the other. If that's the case, talk toward that good ear, and it can all be manageable. So I wish you a happy holiday season.